Buenos dias, amigos, from
the streets of Mexico City.
Today is day 5 of our walk for hunger. We are in our final hours. We have until 11:05 to complete our 100 kilometers in 100 hours to raise 100,000 pesos. Today we actually only have around just over 5 kilometers to walk, so this should be a little walk in the park. Unlike the other day when we walked in Bosque de Chapultepec section 321, that was 3 walks in the park.
Today should be a breeze. I haven't felt this excited in more than 5 days because we're reaching the finish line today and I can smell the beans and rice that you guys have bought.
It will be around, we have almost doubled, at the time of this filming, we have almost doubled our goal of raising 100,000 pesos. We will be able to buy around 35,000 pounds of beans and rice and 24,000 pounds of beans. That is just truly incredible. Today's video will be a little bit different. We're gonna do a little walk and talk as we're walking around Calle Madero. You can hopefully see the beautiful Mexico City behind us, one of our favorite cities in the world. It's just an incredible place to be. 100 kilometers, 100 hours. What do you feel like we've learned over this, like walking through the city, just the whole experience? How do you feel?
I think we've learned that almost like determination or dedication. I feel like we were 10 kilometers in on the first day with a plan of 30 and already started to feel a little discouraged, a little tired, a little bit like we have this huge feat in front of us. And I'm not sure that we'll be able to finish. So I feel like we learned, like, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep literally putting one foot in front of the other, and you will progress. And now I can't believe, honestly, that we only have about 5 or 6 kilometers left.
And we feel
feels
pretty
like
good.
We just started.
Yeah, I was saying it feels pretty good. It's like after the first or second day, your body and your mind just kind of gets used to the fact.
You settle in.
You settle in that you're doing it. I think it's like a good metaphor or analogy for life. Like nothing's really a sprint. Like everything is just day after day after day, and your ability to keep going, your ability to push through, your ability to, I don't know, just keep staying positive is really what's going to determine. It's no one day, like you can't just have one good day and that's it. And early on in this video series of our walk, we talked about how like our quote-unquote suffering of just walking through the city, which isn't even suffering, it just attempting to draw a comparison between that and these people here in Mexico City in the state of Mexico that are living in a state of food insecurity, that don't know where their next meal is going to come from. They don't have a reliable food source. They don't have a continuous food source. It's the same thing for them. It's day after day after day, and they have their good days, they have their bad days, but they have to be able to endure, persevere through that. And we're just barely, like, not even simulating that at all. But I think it just teaches us a little bit of a lesson about having to endure, doing something tough.
Puts us in the mindset and just of struggling in some sense.
In the smallest sense possible.
Do you remember what you told me? What was the hardest part about this whole thing?
I think...
Or when was the hardest part?
The hardest part about this charity and this walk was day 1, walking 30 kilometers. That was just hard. We normally walk maybe 10 kilometers in a day on an average day, maybe. So I mean that's pretty good for an average person, but it's not. 30 was just, it was just hard.
Messed with our minds.
Yeah, it was like mentally we just wanted to be home. Our feet hurt, knees hurt, we were hungry. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, the second hardest day was the day before we started. I feel like myself more so than Hillary, I had like all these doubts, all these fears. Can we do it? Will it be possible? Like we're not trained for this. I mean, like we work out and like I occasionally run. Troy Mills kicks my butt when we run. But we're not trained by any means, and we certainly aren't fundraisers. We don't have a charity. We don't know what we're doing.
You guys haven't figured it out by now. We don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing. So I had all these doubts of, can we finish it? Can we raise $5,000? Like,
is that goal way too big? Is that goal way too small? Which it turns out it was way too small. I think we both had a lot of doubts. I think we had doubts knowing whether we could walk 100 kilometers. I think we had doubts knowing how hard that would be for me, more so than Greg, physically, and how we would sort of like work through that.
Yeah.
So I agree that literally I think the hardest day has been the day before we started. We were nervous and anxious, but I think it turned out okay.
Turned out so much better, and that's a huge lesson learned, is just to, you want to feel, if you don't feel nervous before something you're doing, it's not big enough, it's not crazy enough, it's not scary enough. And I think, before I had this idea, or when we had this idea, one of my first thoughts was like, oh, that's gonna be too easy. And I had all this confidence, and then the day before, I was like having a panic attack about the whole thing. But that, we need to, maybe not every day, but we need to put ourselves in those situations. We need to make ourselves uncomfortable. We need to stretch ourselves. We need to do things that we aren't quite sure if we know we can do it or not. We need to be, we need to doubt ourselves in knowing whether we can do it, because the next time we do one of these, I know that we can raise $10,000. That's insane, and I know we can do that with 100,000 subscribers. So next time, one day when Greg has this idea again, we know what's possible, and we're gonna push it even further. Like, we're gonna challenge ourselves and all of you to raise $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, and we're gonna do something even bigger and crazier. And that leads into we're coming upon the craziest intersection. We've got Latinoamericana to my left, Palacio de Bellas Artes to my right. It's 7:20 a.m. Mexico City tip. If you want to enjoy the city, take pictures.
Other people.
And without other people, just get up at, not even super early, just get out at like 7, between 7 and 10. You'll get some amazing photographs, amazing video, and you'll really be able to experience the city in a completely different way.
That brings me to our next question. What are some things we saw? This could be literally or
Day 1, we saw a mattress on fire and police throwing dirt at it.
Yep.
That was interesting.
Day 2, feral dogs.
Day 2, feral dogs. Day 3, what happened on day 3? What was day 3? Day 3, we walked
to like the end of Reforma-ish, and then back. Not the end, but
oh, that was on Sunday.
Oh,
we had a protest.
A protest. That's crazy enough.
And
day 4, yesterday, we saw on Madero Street a huge scaffolding that had collapsed. I think there were 2 people that were
injured,
with minor injuries or injured, but I think they're expected to be okay. That alone was pretty crazy. So we're gearing up for a big day 5, hopefully full of like zero entertainment.
Hopefully so. Over the course of these few days, we have walked along the Reforma way too many times. We've seen El Ángel way too many times.
Yeah.
Palacio de Bellas Artes, Torre Latinoamericana. We have seen the Sumaya Museum, Revolution Monument. We have walked to Buena Vista, Santa Maria, La Ribera. We have walked Artorio Nacional, Condes,
seen it 4 times.
Insurgentes, Artorio Nacional, Chapultepec 1, 2, 3, Lomas de Chapultepec. We have really got to know the city in an incredible way. I feel like there's still so many areas that we didn't walk to, obviously, but I feel like just walking on foot has given us like, okay, Reforma goes this way, Insurgentes, a map. Like, I've planned some running routes for when my knee doesn't hurt so bad. And I think another lesson I've learned, and something we've talked about jokingly when we showed tacos, is siempre con todo. And that means so much more than just putting rice and cilantro on there. I think it's just like a metaphor or analogy for life. Just give it your all. Con todo means with everything, like va con todo, go with everything. Darle con todo, like give everything. And I think always, and I think that's what we're trying to do here with this project. That's what we're trying to do with our videos. That's what we're trying to do with our time in Mexico, is just to give it everything. Squeeze Mexico for everything it has. Squeeze this project for everything it has. Like, squeeze this community, get everything out of you guys that we potentially can, in a good way, obviously, with this charity.
Yeah.
And I think just, like, when in doubt, con todo. Like, just always, siempre, con todo. Just give it everything, and then if it doesn't work, then, like, if you don't succeed when you give everything, then, oh well, at least you gave everything. At least you tried. Like, at least with our videos with Mexico, we will always know that we gave everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we're gonna start a clothing line of con todo.
Now, speaking of a little cilantro and cebolla, what are your thoughts about food, or like what have we thought about food over the last 5 days? How have our videos changed, our mindsets changed? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we haven't shown any food, any of us eating over this whole time we've been walking intentionally. We haven't mentioned food unless we were talking about the charity. Obviously we have eaten since we started these videos, and
it has been, we've had to stop and refilm because we have mentioned food, because it is such an integral part of our lives, our videos, Mexico, your lives. Food is an integral part. You think about food
all the
so
time.
Much more than you even realize until you film yourself, until you're trying to be sensitive to the fact that we can't talk about churros. That's not, it's not fair, it's not right. We can't talk about tacos or any tortas as we're walking around
trying to raise
seeing
money.
all this street food. And I think it's even, it makes it even more important, and really, like, to not think about or talk about food for 4 days straight has been,
it shows us just how much we,
how much we appreciate the food, and how it is part of, it is a huge part of Mexico for us.
Yeah, and I think we've like come to a new appreciation for hunger. Walking through the city, obviously we get more hungry than normal, and I think a lot of times we say, us and you guys, we say, oh man, we're hungry, or I'm so hungry, or oh, I'm starving. No, we're not. No, you're not. We need to like get that out of our lexicon, stop saying that. We're not like, okay, you might be a little hungry, but like you haven't eaten in 4 hours. We need to get over that. And we have to be, whether we're making a video or not, we have to be sensitive to the fact that like we're not starving. Your brain is just telling you you're a little hungry.
You haven't eaten in 4 hours.
You haven't eaten in a few hours, and you want a Snickers bar. Just because you want a Snickers bar or you want a taco, you want some al pastor, does not mean you're starving. And I think, I don't know, hunger is a weird thing because we all know the feeling. We all know what it feels like to be hungry, but at the same time, none of us really knows. Most of us watching these videos don't know what it's really like to be hungry. What it's like
digging a trash can to get your next meal.
Digging a trash can, to be worrying if you can feed your kids. And maybe some of you have been to this point in your life and you do know what it's like and you can fully appreciate it. But hopefully no one ever gets to that point. But it's just, it's such a weird thing, because we all get hungry, but we don't know what hunger is.
Like.
And I hope and pray none of you have to know what hunger is. And hopefully through this campaign, we can help less and less and less people here in the Estado de Mexico feel hungry. We can take away some of that worry about being hungry, if they can eat that week, if they can feed their kids that day.
Yeah, and that is thanks to you guys. On a more positive note, like, all we've done is start something, and you guys have like come together as such an awesome community to really pull this whole thing off. Look, Greg and I are just the shoes behind the deal. We've really done nothing more than just start something. That said, when you're watching this, I think we're gonna close the fundraiser at 5 p.m.
Maybe a little later, maybe a little
5 or 6, 8. When you're watching this, the day you're watching this, Wednesday, we'll be closing it tonight. So if you have any last minute change you can scrounge together. If you have one more Facebook share in you, Thank you. We're trying to push to the finish line, and we would be so happy if you did the same. That said, thank you guys so much for coming along with us. I think we've all learned so very much. I hope that Greg and I were able to somewhat eloquently describe our thoughts and really bring you along with us for all 100 kilometers. I'm getting a foot rub later today. Final thoughts. Greg wrote this down. I'm gonna steal it from him. Just start something, just do something. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Just start something, just do something. You're gonna have doubts. People are going to dislike what you're doing, no matter what you're doing. Whether we are eating tacos or raising money for a food bank here in Mexico City, we always get, unfortunately, someone's gonna hate it, someone's gonna send us a nasty email, someone's gonna comment, but you know what? Screw those people, screw anybody who doesn't like what you're doing. It's okay. That's if you're getting that nasty email, means you're on the right track.
Spreading a little love is always a better decision.
People get uncomfortable when you want to do something out of the ordinary, and that is okay, but don't let that dictate you doing something amazing, you trying to do good. And you know your intentions, we know our intentions. Is this a perfect project? No. Are there potentially better platforms, other better charities? I don't know, maybe so, but doing something is way better than doing nothing. And those people sending us emails, those people commenting, those people telling you you're not good enough, they're not doing anything either. They're sitting on their couch, just drinking a beer, commenting away, trolling away. So don't think about those people, just do something. Amigos, we hope we have shown you the city in a good way these last few days. We hope we have done good over these last 98 hours running across that intersection, not trying to get hit by a Metro bus. I'm feeling every meter of altitude we're at. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, click the bell that we get notified
every time
we upload a new video, and we'll see you
not from the streets of Mexico City.
Well, we'll be in Mexico City, but I don't know if we'll be walking.
No, I'm not wearing these tennis shoes for days.
Hasta luego, amigos.
Bye-bye.
Well, we did it.
5.88.
100 kilometers in 100 hours with how many minutes to spare?
Less than an hour, about 35 minutes.
We could have kind of closed. We've been sitting at a coffee shop working for the past 3 hours, and we almost forgot the time limit. Amigos, we did it. 100 kilometers, 100 hours. You all raised over 100,000 pesos really before we even started this walk.
Yeah.
As of this filming, we have about 196,000 pesos.
Oh my gosh.
Just 4,000 pesitos to go. To double the goal. Thank you.
We're just gonna spend the rest of the day here because I'm not walking another step today.
How did we get home?
Come find us on the Reforma.
Reforma 164. You'll see us out here.